The press conference?
Can't wait. You know where the national?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I'd like to welcome our Facebook viewers, television viewers, radio listeners, our people within the diaspora, some of those who do the Southwest of Monrovia and in the counties. I'd like to welcome you to the official press briefing of the Ministry of Information every Tuesdays and Thursdays. This afternoon, the distinguished, energetic Deputy Spokesperson of the government will come and make a brief statement, after which he has the authority to officially invite the official spokesperson of the government, Honorable Devlinic Matthew Pia, along with his guests. I have a distinguished honor to invite to the national podium Honorable Daniel Sando, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. Sando.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We want to stand on our existing protocols. We invite you now to join us by giving us your undivided attention as we call this press conference to order. We want to say thank you also to the management of the Ministry of Information for continuously addressing some of the needs that we have here in the conference room. See, additional interventions have been made, which is good for the physical outlook of the place, because this is where the government of Liberia speaks from. So we will not stop at anything to keep improving this environment. And I show some of you who are assigned here, we do appreciate the ambience that we now enjoy in the historic Chadwell conference room here at the Ministry of Information. Today is the 8th day of January 2025. We are here, the second edition of the press conference in the year 2026, let's say 2025. So it's good to be here, and we have one of the entities of the government of Liberia that has done so remarkably well. When the government was inaugurated on January 22nd, 2024, the National Transit Authority was one of those entities that was no different from a dump site. Everything there was room, and the people who the president assigned there had the challenge of proving themselves worthy of the president's confidence. And today, you need not hear from the Ministry of Information about some of the remarkable things that are happening at the National Transit Authority. They did not send us the end of the year report, so we invited them to come to the microphone. Because in our mind, the minister indicated to me, he said, "Son, the NTA was one of the entities, they don't so well, why not call them?" So I called MD4 to pick up the phone and say, "Sir, I'll be there on Thursday." So he's here today. So we are happy to have you, Mr. Managing Director. He's here with his deputy, a very eloquent and passionate young man, Mr. Noah Zhao Gibson. We'd like to welcome all of you who have come here from the NTA. We also have in the house distinguished deputy ministers, directors from the Ministry of Information. And we are here together, happily executing the tasks of the Ministry of Information. So today, press conference, Mr. Pia has designated me to speak, but before I speak to you on the issues that we have to address, we want to say something very important. So I will now seize a moment to invite our distinguished minister to the microphone. We'll make those remarks, and then I will come to speak before we invite the Managing Director of the National Transit Authority. Thank you. Mr. Minister.
All right, good afternoon, and it's good to be back. Like the Deputy Minister said, he is the principal speaker from the ministry today, but I just wanted to clear three things quick. One, I know you must have heard on the radio or read in the newspaper about the situation in Sino involving the armed forces of Liberia. Yes, there was a minor misunderstanding. For your information, the AFL has been deployed at the Sapo National Park for some time because you are aware that that park was occupied by illegal occupants. The government has been working to clear the park, and the park is cleared. And since then, the AFL has been posted. But they had a situation that led to altercation between them and some young people. But it started initially with the coming out of the traditional level, and it was requested that members of the armed forces move indoor, and that in a way compromises security. So in the middle of the misunderstanding, the briefing is that some people attempted using stones, and as a way of deterrence, one or two shots were fired in the air for deterrence. But good enough, the elders intervened, the matter is resolved, and the members of the army and the people in the area are once more living in harmony. Good enough, the shots fired were fired in the air, no one was wounded, nothing happened. Importantly, they are together in mutual harmony. So I just thought to clear that officially from the government standpoint. The second thing I want to talk about is the fact that no country is an island. Nations that carry themselves in ways that put them in one small corner by themselves face multiple challenges. One of the things we've been able to do successfully since the Biden administration is we've improved and harnessed our relationship internationally. We, among few countries, enjoy a very good relationship with the United States of America. We've got a very good relationship with Europe, with Asia, with our friends on the African continent. and they're demonstrating time in, time out what it means to have a good relationship. You are aware that we're on the verge of knowing what will be given to Liberia as a result of our Compact 2 achievement. We know what the United Nations system will be investing in here in the next 4 years through the framework, country framework that we developed along with that. We see what different countries in Europe are doing here. And we see what our friends from Asia, particularly the Chinese, are doing. It was good to note that they have started to act in a way that will enhance the capacity of the Liberia National Police. So you're already aware that they gave them some 90 brand new motorbikes. They gave them uniforms, 1,500 pieces, both the shirts and trousers each. You got leather shoes, up to 1,000 of them. You got hats, 1,005. Boots, 500. On a t-shirt for them, 1,500. Raincoats, 1,500. Like I said, motorcycles, 90. The DMRO hand shield digital radio, 1,100 pieces. And handheld dual mode radio, 55 pieces. These supplies, logistical supplies, will enhance police cooperation, which is so much needed with all that is happening around us. To have our police well prepared, equipped, is a good thing. So we just wanted to note publicly that all of our friends, our traditional allies, the Americans, our friends in Europe, our friends on the African continent, everyone coming to the aid of our country because they realize they have a government that is doing what governments should do. If you don't do what government is supposed to do, people will not be happy to work along with you. 6 years ago, we should have had a new broadcast complex at LBS. We should have had a reference laboratory at the 14 Military Hospital. We should have had an overpass bridge. All of those things collapsed because of bad international relations. We restored them. When you're moving, you see yourself, the overpass bridge project is on. We've reached the point of dedicating the new broadcast complex at LBS. They're finalizing the reference laboratory that will be dedicated soon shortly. So as a government, we salute our international friends and friendly nations that are coming to our aid, and we appreciate the relationship and partnership that we have with them. And the final thing I want to say before I proceed, as part of the performance management contract system, government institutions are required to develop the strategic plan for 5 years. It's a major milestone of the PNCS process. Many institutions have done so. The Ministry of Information has also done theirs. And the process required that when you develop the strategic plan, and after it's been validated, it should be launched. So I just wanted to use this press conference as a medium through which we declare that the strategic plan of the Ministry of Information that ranges from 2025 to 2030 is hereby launched after it's been finalized. This is the plan, as you can see it. So this is our strategic plan. Of course, when we keep there, we didn't mean anything called strategic plan. We didn't mean anything called communication strategy. The strategy is also being finalized and will also be launched here alongside the strategic plan, which will direct the things we have to do here for the next 4 years. Having said those three things, Mr. Sandro can now come and continue the press conference, after which the National Transit Authority will speak.
Thank you very much. We also want to thank the various departments of the ministry for working closely with the health administration for the conclusion of the strategic plan which was just launched by the minister. So let me just continue from where Minister Pierre stopped. We observed over the last couple of weeks influx of Liberians from the diaspora. The airport was flooded with Liberians. That's because the government and the president himself attach a lot of importance to the role that Liberians in the diaspora can play in the power march of our dear country. So after the period of festivity, the President, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, will on tomorrow host a farewell program marking the close of the 2025-2026 annual diaspora return. The annual diaspora return is a national initiative that welcomes Liberians from the diaspora, African Americans, and friends of Liberia for a season of cultural change, dialogue, and engagement. So the program will be hosted tomorrow, the 9th of January, at about 3 p.m. on the grounds of the Executive Mansion. The event, which is being held in the auspices of the Office of the President, through the Office of the Diaspora Affairs, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The occasion is expected to bring together returning diasporans, senior government officials, development partners, traditional leaders, private sector actors, and members of the diplomatic community. Highlights of the program will include special remark from senior government officials, reflection on the achievement and impact of the diaspora annual return, and recognition of diaspora contribution to national development. The farewell program symbolizes not merely a departure, but a renewed call for sustained engagement, collaboration, and partnership beyond festive season. So we continue to run you through some major accomplishments from across entities of the government. We have Enfield and the health tribunals here. So in 2025, the National Public Health Institute of Liberia made significant progress in strengthening national public health systems, disease surveillance, laboratory capacity, workforce development, and emergency preparedness. Working closely with the Ministry of Health and international partners, the Institute enhanced Liberia's ability to detect, respond to, and manage public health threats while supporting national and global health security goals. During the reporting period, Enfield detected 278 public health events of national and global concern and effectively responded to multiple outbreaks, including mpox, Lassa fever, and measles across all 15 counties of Liberia. mpox response efforts resulted in a high recovery rate of approximately 94%, with active cases reduced to 81 across 14 counties. Timelines minimizing socio-economic disruption, operational outreach on the 717 framework shows strong performance in event detection, reporting, and early response. Public health workforce capacity was strengthened through the field epidemiology training program, which trained 27 frontline health workers in disease surveillance and outbreak investigation, emergency preparedness, improved with 16 functional emergency operational centers nationwide, and supported by upgraded equipment provided by Africa CDC. Laboratory system was significantly enhanced through the decentralization of import testing to regional laboratories and the establishment of in-country genomic sequencing for mpox and Lassa fever. Biosafety and biosecurity measures were strengthened through nationwide certification of biosafety cabinets and specialized training for laboratory staff. And also advanced research and knowledge sharing by hosting the fourth EMET. MPhil also advanced research and knowledge sharing by hosting the fourth MFA Danish National Scientific Conference and conducting operational research to inform policy and surveillance improvements. Health promotion and race communication efforts supported community engagement during disease outbreak. Institutionally, MPhil implemented governance reforms, including biometric attendance system, revised strategic planning aligned to the ARD, and strengthened performance monitoring, recognition by Africa CDC as a center for excellence underscores MPhil leadership role on the continent. Overall, MPhil marked a year of growth. Overall, 2025 marked a year of growth and innovation for MPhil, reinforcing Liberia's capacity to respond effectively to public health threats and laying a strong foundation for continued progress in 2026. The Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission. Major achievement recorded between January and November 2025. Between January and November 2025, the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, LRRC, made notable progress in strengthening governance frameworks, expanding integration and humanitarian support, and improving institutional capacity in line with its mandates on the 1993 Liberia Refugee Act and International Refugee Conventions. Key achievements include the development and publication of Service Delivery Charter, issuance and validation of Executive Order No. 144, and the establishment of critical internal control instruments such as adult, human resource, financial, and operational policy. Reintegration efforts supported vulnerable refugees and flood victims through livelihood assistance, small business grants, and educational support across multiple counties, with continued issuance of civil documentation in collaboration with relevant government agencies. Institutional capacity was enhanced through the deployment of financial and management consulting, international training opportunities, and professional development programs for staff. Despite these gains, the Commission faced challenges related to inadequate budgetary and limited logistics. In continuation of MPOX Phase 2 vaccination campaign, the Ministry of Health team in Masara County has intensified vaccination activities in communities across Masara. The campaign covers 8 hotspot counties across Liberia: Nimba, Bon, Grand Kitmount, Grand Cru, Grand Gillette, Mosurado, Grand Bassa, and Lofa counties. Frontline health workers, high rates in children from 2 above are encouraged to take advantage of this life-saving initiative to get vaccinated. Ministry of Health, Dr. Louise M. Koto, be an unannounced visit to the Banana Bay Health Center, where she encouraged staff and thanked healthcare workers for their unwavering commitment. She reaffirmed that 2026 will be a year of health facility visitation, underscoring the Ministry of Health focus on strengthening health services nationwide. So we woke up to the news that some of the critics who are noted for putting a spin on everything to the effect that they are now misinterpreting what the IMF released on Liberia. The same people who forecasted doubt that Liberia will not be reaffirmed for the compact, the doomsday prophets, all of the negative wishes for the country, even though it never come to pass, but it never cease to amaze us. So the IMF board concluded the 2025 Article 5 consultation and completed the second review on the extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. The credit facility provides immediate access to special withdrawal rights, 19.3 million, amounting to about 26.5 million. Growth is expected or projected at 4.6% in 2025 and 5.4% in 2026. Medium-term prospects remain favorable, with GDP growth expected to stabilize at 5.5%, assuming full and timely implementation of the extended credit facility, supported reform programs, preserving fiscal consolidation, enhancing financial stability, and addressing key structural weaknesses, particularly limited competitiveness and widespread corruption remain key challenge. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund completed the Article 5 consultation and second review of the 40-month extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. The board decision allowed for an immediate disbursement of special withdrawal right, 19.3 million, about 26.5 million, bringing total disbursement on the arrangement to 57.9 million, which is about 79.4 million USD. Liberia extended credit facility arrangement amounts to 155 million. 60% of quota was approved by the IMF Executive Board on September 25, 2024, to support the country's efforts to restore macroeconomic stability, reduce debt vulnerabilities, preserve financial stability, and strengthen governance. The program performance has remained broadly satisfactory. 5 out of 6 performance criteria were met, with 1 miss. The Executive Board approved a waiver of non-observance of continuous performance criteria on the non-accumulation of new extended arrears based on credible corrective actions taken by Liberia. Following a strong post-pandemic recovery, economic activities moderated somewhat in 2024. Growth is projected to reach 4.6%, was projected to reach 4.6% in 2025, and accelerate to 5.4% in 2026, supported by an expansion of mining activities, particularly gold and iron ore, as well as a recovery of agricultural production. Political stability has provided a supported backdrop for the ambitious new medium-term development strategy. the arrest agenda for inclusive development. I read that again. Political stability has provided a supportive background for the ambitious new medium-term development strategy, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. So following the executive board discussion, Mr. Bao Lee, acting chair of the board and deputy managing director of the IMF, made the following statement. Liberia has made notable progress in implementing sound macroeconomic policy and key structural reform in the first year of the fund-supported programs, that is 2025. Measures to reduce large-scale deficit, mitigate debt vulnerabilities, and strengthen foreign exchange reserves have yielded encouraging results. Swift policy responses to sudden termination of large grant support through rationalizing low priority spending and mobilizing additional domestic revenues have also safeguarded critical social programs previously financed by UC. So what they are saying to us here is that the government of Liberia has instituted sound policy. And as a result of this policy, the board is now saying to us that the country is on the right trajectory. Building on this strong start, more ambitious domestic revenue mobilization will be essential to create fiscal space for priority development spending. A comprehensive reform agenda is planned for the coming year, including the transition from the general sales tax to higher rates, value-added tax, income tax reform, and the rationalization of tax exemption. Continuous spending discipline, together with improvement in the composition of quality of public expenditure, will also be crucial. The Central Bank of Liberia's effort to address weaknesses in 3 banks and safeguard the banking sector stability are welcome. Steadfast implementation of a stronger regulatory framework will be key, while completing bank restructuring and reducing high non-performing loans will further strengthen stability and support credit intermediation for private sector-led growth. Recent measures to strengthen the regulatory framework of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission will enhance transparency, including through the publication of public officials' asset declarations. The governance diagnostic study will provide a solid foundation for effective governance reforms across sectors, which will be instrumental in attracting foreign investment and supporting higher, more inclusive growth. The Executive Board assessment. The Executive Board of the IMF agrees with the thrust of the staff appraisal. They recommended Liberia for the efforts to preserve macroeconomic stability and welcome the broadly satisfactory performance under the extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. Despite improvement in the outlook, rates remain tilted to the downside, including the ongoing decline in extended assistance and global economic uncertainty. Against this backdrop, the Board of Directors emphasized the importance of sustained reform efforts to preserve fiscal discipline, enhance financial stability, strengthen public governance, and support private sector development to raise the living standard of the people and reduce poverty. The Board of Directors commended Liberia for maintaining a prudent fiscal stance, particularly in light of reduced foreign aid. They were encouraged by the forward-looking fiscal strategy aimed at further increasing tax revenue to reach social development needs, rebuilding the fiscal space, and mitigating debt vulnerabilities. It's a long report, so we'll publish it on the ministry's website after the press conference. I just thought to highlight it. You listened, I read verbatim what they published. So you can now understand why, we can't understand why some of our friends will always want to be negative about something that's supposed to be positive for the country. The goal is basically for many of the government, for somebody, policy that we put into place in the absence or in the wake of, external aid reduction. The Minister of Finance said last time that when you say left, people predicted budget shortfalls. Today, 2025 ended, the government is putting budget surplus. The Ministry of Public Works, in collaboration with the Liberia National Police and the Ministry of Transport, has designed new routes to ensure effective traffic control amid the ongoing excavation work for the construction of the east and west overpasses along the Tubman Boulevard. And this comes in the wake of the huge traffic you've been experiencing, those moving through Congo Town to Queensville because of the ongoing work. So these are the routes that they announced. All vehicles leaving Central Monrovia to Queensville will be diverted through the Congo Town Bag Road, the road that passes right in front of Calabash. I showed most of the gentlemen here know Calabash. All vehicles from Queensville going to Central Monrovia will continue along the Tubman Boulevard, while those going to Oro will be directed through the Allison Street that passes at the back of the Canada building, where Peace Island 540 intercepts Tubman Boulevard. Vehicles using the Bishop Michael Parker Francis Road towards Central Monrovia will not be allowed to use the Congo Town Back Road, but will cross at the back of the Ministry of Health to connect Tubman Boulevard. These measures will be strictly enforced by the Liberia National Police with the goal of avoiding unnecessary traffic congestion, and the ministry anticipates full cooperation from the public in this regard. Lastly, the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment delivered strong performance in the fiscal year 2025, driving community infrastructure across 15 counties through government-funded programs, Office of the Vice President, and partnership with airports, Asila Natal, project focused on education, road bridges, public buildings, and health, representing over 70% of all interventions. Key executive level achievement: Old Town double box carpet muscle fully completed and in use, funded by the Office of the President. The Getchu Yancey Public School, Bomi County, major renovation underway on a historic school attended by current First Lady, Her Excellency Malakatumo Waka. The goal is to make that school one of the top modern learning facilities in Bomi. Project funded by the Office of the Vice President through fiscal year 2025 budget, construction of multiple health facilities, Bowling, Bam, Sikepa, Butu, Camping, Tabata Youth Center, Dante Guest House, and 10 classroom annex at the Nima University. International and corporate partnership project, the ECOWAS cross-border market, water site, boarding facility completed with water, electricity, sanitation, awaiting dedication. Japan ArcelorMittal supported medical facility construction of the Sikkim Park and Buchanan hospitals, each comprising surgery, pediatrics, laboratory wards, laundry, and administrative compartments. District development project nationwide. Education, district development project channel funds through lawmakers to localize development on the legislative support projects. Sub-project category, education, road bridges, public buildings, implementation status, 55 to 60% of all projects are completed, 30 to 35% ongoing, middle schools and public facilities needing additional funding. 10% of all the projects are proposed or pending. On that note, we want to pause and now invite our one and only guest to the microphone, the Managing Director of the National Transit Authority, Mr. Edmond Forford. He will speak. When completed, we'll entertain a couple of questions from our distinguished media friends, and then the three speakers, Ms. Sophia spoke, he will speak, and then we can separately respond to your questions. Mr. MD.
Good afternoon, members of the press, our listening audience out there. I want to wish you all a happy and prosperous new year as we partner in improving public transportation in Liberia. Well, we just want to highlight a few achievements of the National Transit Authority for the past 1 year. As you may be aware, we were here sometime in at the end of 2024, and we promised some things, some improvement that we anticipated carrying on by the National Transit Authority. Some of those issues were governance issues. In terms of the governance issue, we had to develop a 5-year strategic plan that will guide our activities at the NTA. We completed that. We also, in line with that strategic plan, we developed our human resource manual that was approved by our board of directors, and then prepare handbooks for to guide employees' activities out of that human resource manual. For smooth operations of the National Transit Authority, we developed standard operating procedures for all our operations. They were approved, and we are now using them to guide our activities. When we took over the National Transit Authority, we took an inventory of how we met the institution, and to authenticate what we recorded, we wrote the General Auditing Commission to conduct an entry audit so that at the end of our tenure, when we are leaving, there will be an independent verifier to state what we actually met there. And we do same every other year as we move into a new year. In continuation of our governance process, we met several audit recommendations that were made by the GSC. We are now implementing, we made 73 different recommendations. We have completed 36 of them. Some of them are ongoing. Some are beyond our control. Some require huge financial spending. But we are working to resolve as many of them as possible to improve our governance process. In terms of employee welfare, when we took over, we met the institution very broke. In fact, in one of our discussions, I said the total amount in dollars and cents that we met at the entity was 113,000 Liberian dollars and 41 US dollars. In fact, a draft copy of the GSC report even put me a little bit wrong because there were accounts that were open that we did not receive information about, and we got those information as the result of the audit. And almost all the accounts are in negative, which means a liability to the institution. So if I take that into consideration, it means we met the entity deep in negative. However, there were some people that tend to challenge what we said, and I told them I would ask the bank to publish it directly from the bank, and you will see exactly what we are talking about. So in this 2025, in the 2025 budget, we budgeted health insurance for our employees for the first time after more than 7 years. That insurance has some of the beneficiaries attached to it. We introduced a occupational health and safety department that was never existing to work along with HR in maintaining the health insurance and handling emergency health issues before employees can be taken to any of those hospitals. In the arrest agenda, sanitation is key, and so we ourselves take sanitation at a higher priority. We met the institution with close to 400 employees with 2 bathrooms. So we erected a 6-room bathroom facility. We completed that to improve sanitation on the compound. The powerhouse was fully dilapidated. We started construction of a new powerhouse since we indeed intended to take LEC to our compound. That we have succeeded. 3 weeks ago, we have LEC the compound with our own transformer, and that was the problem. LEC said it could not wire the compound without the institution purchasing its own transformer. We successfully did that. We got in there. Now the powerhouse is going up, and sooner we will transition from the shackle building to a modern powerhouse. We also rehabilitated a house in Ganta, because normally we move our outstation people to Ganta, Sani Kole. They normally sleep in the Ganta area to move back to Boruta. So we have a guest house that we fully reconditioned for our employees overstay. while they are in the contract. In terms of infrastructure, I said it my last time here that we took over the entity with our administrative building. The administrative building was burned down to the ground. And so in 2025, we began the construction of a new administrative building. As we speak, they should be casting the first floor of that building this morning. As per the engineering schedule, that building should be completed by July of this year. To enhance our operations, we are now trying to renovate our terminals. Four terminals were constructed in 2014. In fact, the fourth one was not completed up to 2017. Three of them was fully completed, furnished well in Bangabon County, Owalasar, Grand Cape County, and Buchanan, Grand Basel County. Unfortunately, those terminals were massively looted in the past 6 years. The Cambos, down to the Cambos were taken, tars were looted from the flow. So we intend to rehabilitate those terminals so that our buses now have area for outstation servicing. We got a parcel of land through the help of the Mayor of Beasley. We are constructing a terminal in Redline. In the next 3 months, that terminal will be ready, and our passengers traveling outside, especially Bangladesh, the southeast, will be able to board the buses from our own terminal in Redline. Increasing operational efficiency as a result of repairing those buses and the arrival of additional 35 buses. We have increased our routes. We are now running, in addition to the southeast, Zwedru, Harbour via Zwedru. We have the Battersea Estate to Broad Street route to resume, so that the New Georgia to Broad Street route resume, Oro to Broad Street route resume, and then now we are now in Kapata, then Havel. We anticipate very shortly we will be opening the Lofa route and Bakodu. We also have a route resumed that is from Douala to Red Light as a result of the increase in our fleet of buses. We also rehabilitated our fuel tank as part of our maintenance and operational plan. We purchased 35,000 gallons of fuel oil to enable us to move our operations smoothly. As you may be aware, that's the second higher cost of the National Transit Authority. The first is personnel, the second is fuel, and that's key in our movement. So as we speak currently, we hired a firm. We are recalibrating our tank to 35,000 gallons, and we are filling that thing in with 35,000 gallons of fuel from 10,000 gallons. To support that, we purchased a brand new dispenser, and that dispenser is now being installed. So our buses move to our fuel station, and it just take fuel like they were to private fuel station. As a result of our movement in Maryland, Swedru to Maryland, we have opened an office in Maryland, and we hired some additional staff. We hired them from Maryland, and they are there now working in Maryland. Our buses sleep in Maryland, and we run twice a week to and from Maryland. When we're talking about our employees' welfare, where we did not just take into consideration just the health benefits, but remunerations, we look at that in a true sense of harmonization. We did that with our managers when we took over. We have managers, qualified managers, some with master's degree, but at various salaries. Some managers will make 1,500, and you have other managers that will make 500. And for us, on our administration, we felt that was unacceptable. And so in the true sense of harmonizing salary, we brought harmony to that category of employees and adjusted all of the salary. Those that were below 1,000, we moved all of them up to 1,000. We did the same with all our assistant managers. We are now working on our supervisors. Our employees down the line, there was $150, $175. We are now migrating all NTA employees. Once you are NTA employees, your minimum salary is now $200. And there we will start adjusting as we improve the entity further. In terms of training, there are regular ongoing training. In fact, I met some of these young guys, young folks, because we've been among them. With our NS skill, I decided not to hold anybody down as I met them, except where you don't want to work. So we try to build up their skill. 13 of them, we send them to the MVDC, and management bore the entire cost of them going to, like, the only thing they need to do for themselves is to study. As I was leaving, the entity this morning, I just signed for them to receive their boots, safety boots, because the school required them to wear. So we purchased everything. And some of them go to do plumbing, masonry, auto electricity, carpentry. In fact, the building that I'm talking about for the generator room, we hire a consultant to guide the process. They are constructing that generator room. If you go to NTA compound now as we speak, you will meet some of them who are not to school today working. And after their work hour, they go to school and come back to work. So we announced again here in 2024 that we had an intention of procuring 60 pieces of equipment, of vehicles, 35 pieces of 62-seater buses, 20 pieces of 18-seater buses, and 5 cargo trucks. We we signed the contract in 2025. The vendor, a Liberian company, ABK Incorporated. This contract was signed between ABK Incorporated and the National Transit Authority, attested to by the Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Finance, and was further enhanced by the involvement of the Debt Management Committee. After the signing of this contract, the vendor was to bring in the vehicles. As we speak, 35 pieces of the vehicles are now in town. The first 35, in fact, they brought 34 immediately because of space problem. One was left behind, so they brought 34. 2 weeks ago, they just delivered the remaining one, so we have 35 pieces of the 62-seater buses already in town. We got information that very shortly, the 20 pieces will be here. Very shortly, the 20 pieces will be here. We intend to use them on special services because the 20 pieces of 18-seater vehicles are fully air conditioned, so we use them on some special operations. And some of our community routes, we use them on our community routes. The fast trucks will be coming probably at the end of this first quarter. They have not left the factory yet, but we are sure that by the end of the first quarter, the trucks will be arriving. So in our operations, we consider part of our program where we have those that we move in and around the river free of charge. That we have been doing. And those people were members of the disabled community. We move members of the disabled community free of charge. We move national security officers in uniform. Security officers in uniform, move them free of charge, and children under 5 that are guarded by their parents on the buses, we move them free of charge. And I just want to use this time to ask the head of our security apparatus that has been initiated of the National Transit Authority to appreciate our security in uniform, because their presence along the river ride even help us as we move our people around. We were very specific when we said officer in uniform, except where the conductor and the driver are not satisfied with the uniform that you are in, and they may ask you to further show an ID card. But if you are not in uniform, they will not allow you to enter the bus. There are security officers that we don't know. We don't see you wearing jeans and t-shirt and automatically know that you are a security officer. If you are in that category and you only have your ID card, try to convince that conductor or the driver for them to give you a ride. But once you are not in uniform, they are not allowed to give you a ride free of charge. Please, there are a lot of confrontation. We have been receiving reports that there are people who show ID cards and just say they are security, national security officer, and automatically they want to ride the bus free of charge. So we are asking the leaders of those security apparatus to intervene and and then talk to their officers to behave in a proper manner and not to harm our conductors and drivers in line of their legal duties. Very shortly, we will be introducing a special fare for students in uniform. Again, we are saying students in uniform. And that is to say, from kindergarten to 12th grade. In Liberia, those are the students that we expect to be in uniform. If you want to wear a Tottenham High uniform and you're going to administrate, you're going to work to Ministry of Justice, and you say you are in uniform, the conductor will know the difference between you working and a student. If they don't pick that up and they put you in fun, that's good for you for that day. But I don't think you will be coming to information ministry to work and wear Lipo Junior High uniform and say because we say students in uniform. We have a special rate for them. We announce that very soon. We are currently working on a cashless payment system, and maybe we will start with the students in uniform, where the parents will be able to buy a card, their children's card for a month, and we just swap in the bus. And we are currently working with that 3 vendors. We are looking at to see which one can better work with us and contextualize their technology to our system, because you know it's something strange. They have not happened before, and so we don't want it to be complicated, where instead of solving problems, it will be increasing problems. So that's why it takes a little time to do that, but very shortly we'll start that, and we'll do that with all our routes. Equally, we'll start scheduling. Our buses are already going to have a move on the schedule. Sharp 10 on the moving day, the bus is out, and we'll start doing that to all our out-of-town routes. If we say we're leaving from the parking station to go Basel, 10:30, sharp 10:30, that bus will leave, because people in Basel expect the bus to be there by 12. Shortly we'll be introducing to that. We're also doing one of our programs to retire some of our employees. I told them all NTA employees that work hard for the institution from the youthful age to the point where they'll be honorably retired with ride NTA buses free of charge. So we are going to introduce, as I speak, our IT department is working on special bus pass, a special feature that they not be copied easily. And we distribute it to our retired employees. It's not transferable. You can't give it to, if your wife, you can't give it to your husband. If your husband, you can't give it to your wife, you can't give it to your children. It's for yourself. As a retired employee of the National Transit Authority, wherever you find an NTA bus moving towards your direction, once you have that access pass as a retired employee, you ride it bus free of charge. We are also planning, we are working with the Civil Service Agency in how we can move government employees, those that will want to use public transportation, those that will be interested in the public transportation, how to move them, at what fare. We are working with the Civil Service because we want to get the demographic of those all civil servants that we want to ride for public, that we want to use public transportation. In other words, we are saying we want to know all ministry, agency, and commission employees that live in the Pinsville area, for instance. We know that number, then we know the number of buses to deploy in that area. What are the ones that live on the Bushwell Island? Batnersville, Gatnersville, Brewersville, Corwell, and then we'll know how to deploy that at an affordable rate, where you can also buy a card monthly or whatsoever amount you want to put on that. In discussing that, we are also planning like similar things that we're doing for our retired employees, those who consider senior citizens. Now, there were some of our hitches are. I consider our senior citizens to be 70 years and above. So all those 70 years and above, we want to have a special package for them to ride the bus at 50% cost. So there are other views that say senior citizens should be from 65 upward, and I said 70 upward. So we are discussing that, and if we conclude on that, then we include through the NRR, we work with the NRR, that this group of people will have a special card. When we suffer for a citizen card, we will have a special future only for them, so we can identify them. Whenever they get on the bus, they will pay just 50% of that, of the amount for that route. When we brought in the 35 pieces of the vehicles I just talked about, when we brought it, we received some information from the public that the bus was leaning. The bus was leaning on one side. And by old buses, but let me just say, those buses are brand new buses. We did not discard the information. We brought back in those buses in the garage. We asked our technical people to take a second look, but there was nothing significantly wrong mechanically, as we found out. However, we contacted the vendor. The vendor will be sending a few engineers to come so we can allay the fear of our people. I am telling you now that we have not seen anything fundamentally wrong mechanically with those vehicles. They are good, but we made representation with the vendor, and they will be sending people to further allay the fear of our people. With that, we think we want to start here things that we did not make mention of. We will ask them, and then we will respond to any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Managing Director. Family, at this juncture, we will entertain questions. I see a very long. So we take one person, we entertain a question from every journalist. A question.
Thank you, Mr. Family Inspector. Good afternoon. My name is Good afternoon. My name is the input from the Union Administration. And my question goes to Mr. Pierre. Thank you very much for the results of the prior plan. But I want to know, within the notion of the prior plan, but you forgot to tell us the targeted budget that will implement the 5-year plan.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Oman from the why is it that the ATA finally venture into taxi?
Thank you. My name is Manuel Apollo, and my question goes to Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, talk about all of the vehicles, especially the buses. In Liberia, the people want to know whether the government has already paid for all of the buses, or better still, it is what is called set pay in Liberia.
Good afternoon. My name is Koya Philip. I work for the Liberia Newspaper. I have 2 questions for my bosses and 1 question for the NTA boss. Mr. Pierre, 1 question. The last time the government had the program, the Tupalolo program in my county, we promised that It's a teleworld. That people will look for God. The time of the So that program, you had it in the name of the promise that you were going to have another one in Barcelona. That VATA program, up to that time, we have not seen it. So we want to know, when are you having that program again? When will you be having that program? And
One question.
the
sir.
NTA,
Take a choice. You also ask me, so you have to take a choice.
So, my name is Joseph Selim, and I write for the news newspaper. Mr. MD, I want to know, when you took over the entity in terms of the revenue flow before the coming in of these 35 pieces of buses, where are we in terms of revenue currently? Thank you.
I'm Darius today in a report for Lady News Africa. My question goes to Director 4. Of all of the people you mentioned that may benefit from the free
You ask me a question, let's say. About the free route.
I don't know.
How are you?
Yeah, so my concern has to do with the pregnant women. When do we see them being part of this entire project table?
All right, thanks for coming. I'm Curtis Nax Jr. and I do votes for Sabati Liberia. My question goes to the MD of NTA. Mr. MD, the Liberian people want to know how many NTA buses are there currently at your entity, how many of them are operating, and how many are not.
So my name is James M. Garana, report for the Tour Africa and Management County. My question goes to Minister Pierre. Minister Pierre, you spoke about the EFL issues in the Sapo National Park coming across traditional people. The issue there is often in the Liberia counties, security officers find it very difficult in their work in terms of they coming across traditional intimidations. Is there any plan by the government through the Internal Affairs Ministry regarding the security apparatus so we can be able to have an amicable working relationship in the various parts of the counties so that security officers will discharge their duties without intimidation?
My name is Al. We are freelance. I'm confused when the bring through fight the conductors on the buses. What do you do, Mr. Ford? I'm confused. The tussle on the buses. What do you do when you get those kind of reports? Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Sally, and I'm a recruiter from Mr. Paul, my question goes to you. There are many concerns from citizens, passengers who board these buses on overload. Yeah, I want to know if there are many concerns that will reach your office or maybe the in general.
My name is Moses Tina. Thank you, ND, for there is the issue concerning financial management and debt.
Financial management?
Yeah, and debt at the NTA since 2023 to 2025. The NTA faces huge debt, including the court order to seize assets for unpaid lubricant bills and also allegation of financial irregularities, the use of funds, and lack of transparency.
Thank you, Honorable Ford and Honorable Pia and your able deputies here. My name is Stephen Sompon and I report for the Liberian News Agency. This question directed to the MD at the National Transit Authority. And let me just in a public manner commend you for the tremendous job you guys are doing at the NTA. But this afternoon, my attention has been drawn to all routes in Liberia, especially for Riverside County. Are there plans of expanding your operations in Riverside and other leeward counties, especially for the Southeastern region, using the Buchanan route? And you care to tell us about the fares, because there are some conflicting information as it relates to the transportation fares along the NTA. Thank you.
All right, so The first question is why NTA not venturing into taxi? So we are working on that. In fact, we consider that, we call that call for ride. We're working on that, but we'll be very careful because we don't want to kill the private sector. You got to balance it and see how the private sector survives. Even though we want to provide public transportation at affordable rate, but we also watch what we do not to kill the private sector. But we're thinking on that, and we need and started call for ride. When I was growing up, if you took a taxi from Douala and wanted to go Chubo, the taxi carry you straight to Chubo. It doesn't stop you to Ross Street, and then you find another car that will go there. Those are the kind of things we want to reintroduce. So you can take a taxi cab from Oro and will carry you straight to Brewersville, Nasco Village, and put you there. We are working on that. The GOL paid for the buses. No, GOL did not pay for the buses. Those buses are not free. So buses. The arrest agenda for inclusive development, our sector planning, they budgeted 50 buses for NTA in 5 years. So the 50 buses at the rate, at the time of that decision, each of these buses was 85,000. So it means governments will be able to give us 10 buses every year if they will give us 50 buses in 5 years. That's 850,000. So I made a case with the Ministry of Finance when I went to defend our budget. I will bring that 50 buses into today. All you do give me that 850,000 every year. I will run a margin and pay the vendor. So it's not free. We need to, the government did what we asked in the 2026 budget. They gave us the 850,000. We want to match it by 845,000 and pay the first 1,720,000. So it's not free. It's a 2 years deal. At the end of 2027, then the buses will be free for the Liberian people. The next question, current revenue. Currently, with the few buses that we just won, we're running around $800,000 a day, Liberian dollars. We were running between 300,000 to 400,000 prior to where we are now. And we want to expand the route. In fact, there will be price adjustment upward very soon. We're downside. Because we want sustainability, we don't put the buses on the route for them to come down in the next 6 months. We must sustain them. And so to sustain them, we have to adjust prices. But those prices, we don't intend to adjust the prices within the Monrovia area, Monrovia and East Environment, our out-of-town route. But when we get to that point, we'll let you know. Pregnant women, yes. For now, we don't have any plan to carry pregnant women free. What we have told our conductors and drivers, whenever you get to a point where you see women with children, take them first. Pregnant women put them by themselves. We'll do that. But to move pregnant women free of charge, we have not factored that into our arrangement yet. Maybe sometime in the future. Current number of the buses, we have 52 now, including the 35 that just came. We had 14 that we repaired. We purchased additional 317, and the 35 that just came is 52. Out of the 52, we got 3 now in the garage for regular maintenance. We ran with the new buses that came, the service manual. After every 5,000 hours, you must service them. So 7 of them now are in the garage waiting to change the oil and filter, because those are specific oil. We got the oil yesterday and we're going to change the oil. Tussle on the buses. So he said, tussle on the buses. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yes. In fact, my deputy for operation was just at the police station 2 weeks ago. A guy got on the conductor for no reason and wounded the conductor. We took him to the police station. He broke him and begged. I think he paid the hospital bill for that. But we never use this medium. We are there to serve the public. This is why they said with the act that created NTA said affordable transportation, reliability, and affordability. So we do everything for you to rely on us, that we will always be there. And that's one of the reasons why I say there will be price adjustment. And we get it as an affordable price. When somebody will pay $150 or $200, you pay $50. And then instead of you sitting peacefully in the bus, you want to fight the conductor to ride free of charge. And some of those things come from it because we have the policy that we carry security personnel in uniform, we carry them free of charge. You don't wear uniform, you take some kind of ID card, and the conductor don't have ID card, a police ID card, or the fire service ID card, and then you're forcing their way through and wound them in the process. It's unacceptable. We don't accept that. In as much that we tell our conductors and drivers on the bus to be very polite, use your best customer service skills, treat the public nicely. The public also must respect those people on the buses. Overload. We got complaint. In fact, zero tolerance on people standing on the buses that go out of town. No one should stand on any other buses from Monrovia to Ganta, from Monrovia to Banga, from Monrovia to Grenji. Nobody's supposed to stand. We got a minimum weight of 15 kg per passenger of anybody who rides in the bus. And that's a policy we go with. Everybody's supposed to adhere to. We already have a complaint on that. And the investigation is going on now. And those who will be held liable will face the full weight of the human resource manual. And I want to encourage the public that what other people are doing. We got our hotline, we got numbers on the buses. Just call us. Once you hear the public and you see those things going on wrongly, just let us know. We'll take the appropriate action until we can curtail them. We have suggestion buses at the NTA. If you're passing by, you get something, get ready. You don't have to put your name. You just put it there in the box. We got people who in their compliance officers that open those boxes, read it, and take it to the appropriate authority for actions. Financial-based management. I can talk about what happened in 2021, 2022, 2023 that led to me inheriting $41. I can talk to that because I was not there. Well, I can promise you that since March 1, 2024, for accountability is like the National Transit Authority. In fact, the first person I fired, and the person was sent him to buy broom because we took over the place, the grass was almost to this roof. And we sent him to buy whipper and broom, and he went, he found the money and went face his own receipt and brought it. I'm an auditor by myself. I called him where the shop because the receipt from your go to the shop and so there was nowhere. Then he came back, oh, I'm sorry, he was fired right away. That sent a signal to everybody there. So where you got that views from, I'm sure they were talking about the past. You can go. The court case, yes, it was the past. I went to the court. I met the judge. Two of the vendors took the entity to court. One is 96,000. The other one is 35,000. We vetted our debt. Some of those things went somewhere that we don't know. We brought it down to 70-something thousand. I told the judge we pay him $500 every month because we don't have money. So every month I write a check, we sign a check of $500 and send it to the court. The rest of the people, they owe every day as we speak. I think 3 or 4 persons will be waiting for me at the entity that the entity owe. There is no business in the country that entity didn't owe for the past 6 years before we took over. Time to wait up back and people will come. So for debt, the debt more than $2, 3, 4, $5 million. I'm talking about the employees. I was saying NTA will be 11,000. I took the entire salary arrears debt and give it to the auditor for auditor to verify. Because when I pay myself, you will come say the bank went there like money business, you went over there to take money. So those who enter the old salary area, they come to me and say, I should be number one, I live in the land. So let the internal audit vet it, write us, and then we will take the necessary action. Vendor debt, we are paying vendor debt. As I'm speaking here, I have not gotten a vehicle. March 1, 2026 is my second year, right?
Yes.
It's my second year at the entity. That marks my second year. I don't have a vehicle, I use my private vehicle. Because NTA never had the money to purchase it. But I'm paying vehicle rental debt for my predecessor. Other routes. Sino is one of the areas we are looking at. But we are looking at the bridge. There's a bridge, I think, between Sino and Riverside. I mean, it's not good for the bus. So that's why I head us down. Or else we'll be running Greenville. Riverside, we want to see the population. If we put a bus there, we study there, you know, my deputy for administration, where he coming from? Every time we're talking about moving to Lofa, they say, but what about Riverside? So I think operation people will go and see how many persons go into Riverside and come out of Riverside. We're looking at that. We'll put a bus there to go to Riverside. But once the road is good, everywhere in this country that the road is okay, that the bus can move without problem. It doesn't necessarily have to be Kota road. Not necessarily have to be Kota road. Even a gravel road that is good, we'll put a bus there to move our people. So I think that's all the questions that were asked. And I want to say thank you for the question. As you leave, please, especially the person who talked about the hostility against our personnel on the buses. Please, you got your friends, talk to them. Talk to them. If it's a specific route that the hostility becomes too much, we withdraw the bus on that route. Because we cannot afford for people to just brutalize our staff every now and then for just little or no reason at all. So I want to say thank you.
Mr. MD, I think my young reporter Larry is very passionate about pregnant women. I don't know why they were pregnant. He has always raised this issue of pregnant women. Maybe my advice would be, maybe not generally, because when the pregnancy comes, the belly can be small, the middle people get weak. So the one that already be maybe 8 months, 9 months, maybe you can consider them the route. Larry Drew should be So when we develop a 5-year plan, it depends on the government for support. Government envelope is being prioritized in all sectors. Communication is important, but there are critically important sectors, health, education, etc. So you just try to be courageous. Say why you want to do it. Let me give you this example. When we got here, this building was falling down. We didn't have money for it. But I did say to you in the same press conference that there's no way we can allow ourselves to remain in this condition. We have to change it. And without government contributing a dime, maybe I'm going to repeat that, without government contributing a dime to re-roof the entire building, it's not for government budget. While we're still waiting to see whether we get government support to renovate the building, this conference hall you are in is not a part of the renovation that's going on. It was done outside of that renovation. In other words, what I'm saying, whatever we have in the strategic plan is an act of boldness that we have always practiced. We've said what we want to do. Year in, year out, our government does this budgeting process. We execute. The performance management program stuff we're signing with the president is incumbent on government resources. All these strategic plans are going to the cabinet secretariat. As the government support, we execute to the extent of the support and what we can get on our own. So that's how I want to leave you. I don't want to tell you our strategic plan is 10 million. Maybe government in the next 4 years not prepared to give us that amount. So we can't kill our determination to do what we want to do. One of the things I did in graduate school at Harvard was a specific course called Getting Things Done. And I was key in taking that as one of the courses I wanted to do. What it teaches you is that there are many ways through which you can get things done without necessarily having a drum of money sitting. It is exactly the theory and the practice of that combined that I brought to my team that bought into it, and we're doing what we're doing here. Not because communication is one of the areas that is supported as it's supposed to be. You know, sometimes when you place in charge or a good children, they say, no, yeah, you know, we have been talking now. Because the ministry is bigger than one sector. You come here every time for press conference. I won't touch my house secret. We'll carry a premier 5 days, we get you money, you come back. That's some poor money here, they look at my face, they me, I live on cattle. So I'm going to put in camp 5 days, get a cattle, it's gone. But there's no money in the budget for press conference. Where you see it coming from? So if I look at Trump and say, they were running a place before he considered the place as autonomous. So anything that they were doing it on their own. Whatever resources, even if it comes on your name, will spread to our programs. Somebody just asked for government town of my own reporter. The government budget is public. Go low inside where you see any money for government town. But we're courageous and bold to say we want to do it. So if I got money, whether they get Lena on it, I know it can help to do government town, or you can do a press conference, you can do that, I say no, it's fully for Lena. The ministry is the ministry. So that's why people are making a noise. You have been talking about it. I'm a solution-driven person. I say, whatever we get, if there are challenges at Lena, we're addressing. But not going around for me and employees to be arguing. Somebody go say something on one radio station at the house. You can say, people I can keep doing that. My own children, if I can call it that way, I will be running around with. So Mr. Tag, I have bigger things to concentrate on. This country is on a journey that some people don't want to see go on. They're doing everything to repress and suppress and do everything. That's a bigger picture. That's what I'm concerned about. It's been 2 decades in this ministry. Everybody paying their own way to come to work. We funnelizing. In the morning, bosses will go in 2 directions. One to do whatever we want, the other side, pick up our employees, bring them to work, after work, carry them back. It's not happening in 2 decades. The things we have the power to solve, we solve it. If I, on my own, with my team, had the power to change remuneration, that's what I think we would have done for day one. Because it's not okay for people to be working in government, be making 150, 200. And don't forget, these are the same people who were transporting themselves to and from work. And the team here decided that was unacceptable, and therefore we must ensure that they can be transported to and from work. That assignment is bigger than what people are doing now. Changing the building to be what it is bigger than any programming in the ministry. Don't gotta know what we want and start being small-minded in our advocacy and activities. We respect all of the departments here. We'll make sure you work. We've had some conversation with you when you're sitting here today, that when we're here, everybody will work. But you gotta understand that the ministry is not one sector. Thank God, culture and tourism gone. That was part of our working year too. Budget year after budget year, you're looking at budget line, nothing there for culture and tourism. How do you promote culture and tourism? How do you develop culture and tourism when you're not budgeted for? At least it's gone as a separate independent entity, but the first time they got a budget, say what? 3 million or 1.7 million? Whatever it is, they got a budget, which has never really happened. The last real serious budget this place ever had in terms of culture and tourism was when we developed a PSRP project that for the first time placed 250,000 in the budget for them. We have not even executed that project fully. As it was approved by Minister of Finance, one or two things were done to procure the bus for the cultural troop, to pick up, because the tourism supposed to be in the free inspecting hotel, they can't even go there behind the bazaar. But now that they're on their own and they've been treated from that institutional perspective, we hope they can try, because tourism is a potential sector that can generate billions if it is done properly. So this country has needs, and we're working together to solve those needs. So to conclude, Government Town Hall, yes, we said we were doing it quarterly. Let me tell you what we did innovatively. We work with Internews. Internews planned the program where we agreed that every month we do Government Town Hall in one place. But you know where Internews were getting the money from? Mr. Journalist, you know where they were getting the money from? Okay, usage. So when the US government announced that they were pausing usage operation across the world, Internews collapsed. You know why Internews, you don't see that anymore. Even the country manager they hired was a foreigner returning. They put in a local ORC to manage the place. So all that we did, we didn't want it to look like we're killing the program because we're depending on so much on Internews. So what we said, maybe in the absence of Internews, we can do it every month, or we can do it quarterly. And we took that bold decision without having a dime to do it. We've done it twice. That program is done in concert with Daniel and the new media office. They will tell you that it's not cheap. The first one we did was what, $20,000 to do it. We went to NIBA, they know why it was. So with our budget now for you to do the third one, we need money. But let me tell you one of the things we've done. In the current budget, on our operational expenditure, we made sure that we will have some resources to do the government time of quarterly as we plan. So in the new year, and we will do the next one. It's going to my own country, so I take it serious. We announced that I'm going to Grand Bazaar, right? Sure. So we do it. I can't tell you when Bazaar bringing town or I'm ready. I'm ready. I think we're okay. Thank you for today's press conference. The work in here even continues. But I want you to help us. And I will say the one, you put your camera there when I call it. I'm playing charge when you say it on that whole side of the wall. Just see what happened there. Yeah. Huh? That what happened there. That's all the thing. You're dead in the place. That's what I want to say. So we can't be feeling the place. Look at the place. Look at the wall. So we do the same thing no time. So y'all help us. Because if we all put hands together and keep it going, in less than after the year, they go to the change brown then. But see what we've done, I'm not that people don't know. You're going to be in our conference. Hey, there is something. But I human being put in the dead. Yeah, I can see that the airplane, you see that. I can't even lay on any wall so you can get there. So that's do it properly. Just yesterday I brought it every day here and I told you they got to research the thing. So how many times will we research it? Have that resources. So let's work together to keep it going. Not do a great job, but just saying let's do it better to make it better. Thank you.